Emily, your experience with user interviewing and where you've seen a lot of people make mistakes, because I know as someone who has tried to do both, user studies as well as just surveys and research, it's very hard to do it well. And I don't think a lot of people understand that until they try to dive into it and try it themselves. So I'm curious what kinds of things that you see common mistakes you see people making.
Yeah, so there's a couple of aspects to this answer, I think. The first one is that, so I am talking to users on behalf of my clients, which does give me like a built-in advantage, because it can be more challenging to talk to users, ask them questions about the project that you're emotionally invested in. And it is also harder sometimes for that to get honest feedback, because people want to be nice and they don't want to be like, hey, this feature that you launched, like it was garbage. And, you do want to know if they think that, but it can be really challenging, if it's you, because people don't want to say that. I would say there's a couple mistakes that people generally make. One is coming in with too many assumptions. And again, you create your project, you have like a specific use case in mind for what this project is going to be used for. And sometimes that is what your users actually use it for. Very often it's a little bit different, and sometimes it's a lot different. And so if you come in with too many baked in assumptions and you ask like a lot of the questions sort of have baked in assumptions or are sort of leading, you can end up like missing the point.
What would be an example of an assumption that you see people making that are wrong?
So I'm thinking of a company I worked with who had an open source project related to cutting cloud costs. Well, this was what they thought about, right? We created this project. The reason that we created it because our cloud costs were out of control. And thing was, none of their users were thinking of it as a like cost control project. That's not why they were using it. So they could come in and say like, why did you need to get your cloud costs under control? And they'd be like, well, that actually wasn't an issue. So here's this other thing, but you'd end up sort of not getting enough information about what the actual use was like, because you were so focused on what you thought they were probably using it for.
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen, especially when talking with users, it's very easy to lead the users, right? Because you'll start to talk to the users and try to drive to the conclusions you want them to tell you.
Yep.
It's so common.
And it can be really subtle too. Like even your body language when you ask a question can like hint at the answer that you want, or these kinds of things. And there's so many different subtle ways where you can be guiding the person you're interviewing to a particular answer. And even if they and you are not picking up on it, it might be skewing the results. You see this kind of thing in like the science world a lot as well, of like psych studies and these kinds of things. And all of those principles are super relevant here as well.